one thing I saw you said I really liked that the ancients were the original biohackers. And I know a lot of biohackers out there, and maybe I think they would probably agree, but also some would dispute because so many are on the cusp of such technology-driven data and really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with genetics and everything that you may say has been a very 21st century advent. So tell me, why do you think the ancients were the original biohackers, and were they doing it smarter than our like modern day biohackers are?
Well, okay, so one of my favorite sayings is, we want to preserve the fire of a tradition, not the ashes of a tradition. The ashes are the treatment tools, the treatment methods. The fire is the goal of treatment, the goal of the practice, the whole reason you came up with the tool. So we came up with a knife to be able to cut the body, to do surgery, and then we refined into multiple types of scalpels for different situations to make the cutting of the body more efficient as a surgical intervention. We kept the goal, be able to cut the body open and help somebody that needs surgery, but we didn't keep the ashes, the original rough stone that somebody used to cut the body. And the original biohackers were motivated to improve human function physically, emotionally, spiritually, and they came up with tools to help improve the body. Modern day biohackers are doing the same thing. What might be, I might argue, might be missed some of those cases would be the bigger picture of why they're doing the biohacking. It might be that they're looking only at one side of it. How do I hack my physical health? How do I live to be 130? How do I live to be 150? But without the bigger picture of how do I live to be happier, or how do I live to have a better connection to a transpersonal identity so that I am more in touch with the bigger sense of humanity or the planet or the universe or something like that, which was part of the sort of ancient method. And I would say they were more considerate of the bigger picture, but also went in to look at which herbs made you a better athlete, helped you to prevent aging, helped to prevent decline associated with aging, which we can then look at some of the modern herbs that has research around how it supports telomere health, how it supports as an antioxidant. And so we can see the ancients were doing the same things. They just didn't know that it was telomeres.
Right. Those words were different words, correct? They were of the ancient language and everything. And you know, you read my mind, Justin, because I was going to ask you about, is the goal of what we're doing now the right goal? Because you hear it all the time. I want to live to 180, right? Yeah. So I'm going to, genetically modify myself to do that, get rid of all disease, kind of this and that. Whereas no one's really looking at the quality of life almost. To say those years 180, great. But, where's the happiness factor in this? Yeah. What is your goal? And I really think that health, happiness is the goal here. It shouldn't be about numbers so much, but again, that's difficult to say, because can you have both? Can you be healthy, happy, and live to 180? What do you think?
Why not? I mean, right? Yeah, I think that's the goal, right? Is like live as long as possible, but also be as happy as possible. And I think, on the more like psycho-spiritual side of things within Taoism, the sort of basic principle, something that makes Taoism different than Buddhism. Taoism doesn't believe in karma in the way that Buddhism has this idea: you do well in this life, you come back as something better the next life. You have this sort of upgrading as you go. Taoism doesn't have that judgment, because that's a judgment thing. If you're good, you get something good. If you're bad, you get something bad. Taoism looks at it as you're here to have a purpose. You're here to learn something for the sake of your soul, for your unique person. They would argue that like you and I both share an interest in the health of the world, the health of people. That's part of our journey. For whatever reason, we were both drawn into that field. And we may suffer from disease, or we may never suffer from disease, but we are surrounded by disease either way, constantly. And so disease is a big part of our life journey. And the goal is to learn, why am I here? Because all of us, whether we live to be 100, 80, 60, 200, we're going to die. And so at that last moment when we die, can we die peacefully?
Mm.
Can we let go and feel we lived the life that we were meant to without having regrets that call us back to have to redo something? And I think if we look at living longer without also including living more complete so that we can die peacefully, then no matter what, we're going to reach the end of days and still die unhappy.
Right.
You know, like we have to, in theory, you want to live every day as though it were your last. That's the sort of classic statement, right? And if you can live like that for 180 years, then you can have that much more rich experience and enjoy it that much more. But if you live to be 180 and you never really figure out why you're here, you're going to die just as unhappily as you would have if you died at 60 or 40 or 20 or whatever.
Right. And I feel like a lot of what's going on there, whether it's hacking or just whether it's living our lives, we kind of are, we're reaching for goals that I think are quantitative, but don't give us so much happiness. And as soon as we reach them, we reach for something else and we keep doing that. We're running this hamster wheel and we're never truly happy. We're thinking we're getting to happy. And that once I take this corner and inject this new compound, I'll feel better and it'll do this and I won't have this. And we just never really get there. And at the end of our days, however long, 180 or, 76, the average now, we kind of look back and say, was that truly happy? And, some people may be able to be content with that. I don't know. I can't answer that because I've never had that experience. But I think the goal, again, is a little bit off. When I go on social media and I see people just posting these things on there, and it does seem like a game of just numbers and things that are fleeting, and then you just keep going, right? And I think that's unhealthy, though. That's what I'm trying to get at is these actions, as healthy as we see them, meaning lifting this much, getting this much body weight off you, doing these numbers, at the end of the day, if you're not happy, that's not healthy for you, I believe.